Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse wXw Review Podcast in English. I'm Ian Hamilton, joined as always by Mike Kilby. And Mike, 4 days, 57 matches, well, 63 for you, 2 trophies, load of Cowboy hats, counts in the books, and I guess we're just about recovered from it. But how are you doing?
Yeah, really doing well. I think it was a very very successful weekend. All in all, I think very positive words from pretty much everybody. I've not sort of heard anybody with any real complaints, which is really good. Really good weekend.
I mean, I think this was the first Carat that was pretty much in full on thriller and wXw now in English and German, obviously not in a circle for obvious reasons. But yeah, I mean, again, just from circles, we were on our nose at the Voices Discord. We had a lot more people watching. Again, there'd been a lot of wrestling in decent hours. People able to pop it on over the weekend. So there's a lot more people giving feedback as it went. But I saw a lot of folks back home, didn't make a trip over, were able to watch too, fitting on football and any other shows were going on. But yeah, I mean, for me, we're going to get into this. I know you did your podcast with Alan Farrell and PW Torch. Kind of said, it's probably the best Carat weekend, best festival weekend in the modern day. So, since 2020, if you want to use that as a benchmark or a line in the sand, I think in terms of the post-pandemic stuff, it's definitely the benchmark we're going to have to use now for these festival weekends, just in terms of consistency, in terms of, I guess, fan sentiment, in terms of just, stuff making sense and stuff building up for the future, normally these kind of weekends, there's maybe one or two duff moments, if you're pulling out one here, it's, I'm looking one now on our run sheet. It was a match, and again, that's maybe, maybe one spot that really dragged it down, but there wasn't really anything on terms of the main shows that really went, okay, well, maybe the next thing's going to be, but yeah, 16 Carat Gold 2025, definitely, ticked a lot of boxes, all the boxes for a lot of people. I mean, we're obviously going to go over it. One called Manda's winning the whole thing, and if you just go by the size of the queue, for the winner after Carat, pretty successful weekend.
Yeah, I think, and I kind of just make it clear I did predict both winners of both tournaments correctly.
Yep, I think I went for who was not to be boring and predictable, but getting the finals right's pretty good.
Yeah, no. So, I think it was as I said, it was lots of very I hate to use the word, but smart storytelling throughout the weekend. I hate it's a bit of a meme word these days, but
did it have the aura, Mike?
Yeah, the aura, that sort of thing. So there was some very sort of simple through lines throughout the whole weekend, which really paid off towards the end. People having sort of matches earlier in the tournament, which then are sort of referenced later on. You mentioned Ahura there. Ahura is sort of basically carrying injuries through the entire weekend, and it eventually sort of playing into the final sort of the final death in a way of him at the end. It was really great stuff. Like you say, you mentioned it being probably the best post-pandemic. As I said, I've kind of thrown the gauntlet down and saying it's the best one since 2018, which I think a lot of people consider to be probably one of the best ones anyway.
I mean, 2018 would have been my first, and just think, no, you're probably damn right. At worst, it's level.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best ones. It's one of the best live weekenders anyway that I've been to, like I sort of mentioned with Alan, it's difficult to rank them, but I feel like if I was ranking them, it would be going in the top 3 or 4 for sure. So yeah, it was a very we like to talk about the rice pudding, or Jacoby obviously said you can't have rice pudding for a dinner every night, but this was one of them ones where we definitely got the rice pudding. The results that the fans wanted paid off, much like maybe Irie 2 years ago. Very very popular winner. But like there wasn't even like any of the semi-finalists would have been fine. It was there was no duff people even in the second round. It was all like everybody in the second round. I was like, I wouldn't have a problem with any of these doing well. So
yeah. I mean, we'll go through results. Obviously, we're not going to go match by into every match, but obviously this week the weekend has I guess was kind of characterized by injuries. Obviously, Dennis Stolnig, he was kind of ruled out before the weekend even got going. So plans change. Quotation mark all over that. I think Stephanie Mays did her ankle in on the alternate four-way match. So again, definitely one announced match did have to be changed. Maybe a second one, but it was unannounced. So it was a fair amount of moving parts across the weekend, which we'll get into. But again, it all starts in Gelsenkirchen, at least this year it does. Sold out. It was 120 for Inner Circle, and yeah, we're getting back to the habit now of the mystery, very little unannounced and very little in the way of announced card. I think we kind of figured out, or hoped what the main event was going to be. But yeah, I mean, just going through Inner Circle, of course, this wXw now exclusive. So if you're one who's only watching on Triller, this ain't going to be popping up. But Elijah Blum over Danny Jones, starting the weekend, and no spoiler, pretty much won every match this weekend, and I think he's 9-0 in wXw this year, which is going through tallying like the win-loss stuff to see who's best placed to be towards the top of the card, after Carat fallout. But yeah, undefeated this calendar year, which is took me by surprise. Anil Marek beating M4, Anita Vaughan, Oscar and Yuta Nakashima beating Reika, Robert Dreisk and Mark Empire. Bit of preview of the TLC match on the Saturday. Adam Priest over Zaya. That one was one of those matches I think I put in the report. One of the matches you figured could be happening over Carat weekend, but didn't know you really wanted till the two guys came out.
Yeah, it's the right people in the right place at the right time, isn't it?
I think Zaya was again in the the academy space. Not too much room to go wandering around, but I suspect it was given the production crew held jumping off the stage, play spot for Spaniard as he roams the crowd like a maskless psycho clown at points throughout the weekend. But we'll get on to him. Lawrence Strowman beating Aaron in just over 5 minutes. Ryan Clancy drop kicking the heck out of Norman Harris in 7 minutes. Fun 7 minutes where you realise you can swear your head off to Norman's music. Nice and catchy. And main event, I think, was one, it'll be making the end of year ballots. The Astronauts over the Cowboys. Abe and Nomura beating Thomas Shire and one called Manders in 10 minutes. A match which, we were all ringside when Gadge messaged me afterwards saying, 10:34. I could not believe it. That was just 10 minutes. Like, proof you don't need to be going 15, 20 minutes to be effective and leave a memory.
Yes. So, with, I mean, what in terms of Inner Circle, what were your main highlights? Would you say?
Main highlight would be the intermission when they fixed the goddamn radiator. Just kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the Astronauts and the Cowboys, the main event for me, that is the one is going to be the lasting memory. I mean, hell, you see, 4 guys slapping the crap out of each other for 10 minutes. Yes. And, I think we said at the time, if anything tops that, it's been a hell of a weekend. Priest Zaya, again, pretty good. Bear in mind, it was one of those came out of nowhere. Another name across the weekend, although wasn't really in any kind of high-profile positions. Ryan Clancy.
Yes.
Like, in terms of, we've seen him, he's done, was it the wild card last year? But, if you don't know him, he's got the the old school, fancy Ryan Clancy's the nickname. It's the whole the oldie time wrestling. We've got the perfect music like the the New York detective TV cop thing, I guess, if you want to put a rough approximation on. But got the couch down routine. It's not the hey, I'm old school. I can do an arm wringer. I can do a monkey flip or the old school head scissors. That is the character, and no commentary plays stuff as, but that's not his mindset. It's more he's a modern guy, but he knows the old ways work because nobody's using them. And so it's the way it's being done. It's not being done with like the so prevalent in the indies, knowing nudge and a wink of I'm old school. Look at me,
It's
and
not
it just
somebody who's
works.
stepped out of the TARDIS.
Yeah.
2024. Yeah.
And the fact, like, I mean, let's say this match against Harris, he won with a drop kick, which just caught me completely off guard. And maybe that's me not watching his matches on Wrestling Open. But the fact that a simple move like a drop kick wasn't like, oh, it's a drop kick, that's a finish. Oh, it actually is believable as one, but because 2025, you're not conditioned to that being a finishing move, it's a kind of endeared to the character even more.
Yeah, as I say, I think you're dead right. I think as a week, sort of over the course of the weekend, it was always almost everything you did was of excellent quality, especially for someone who I think we've probably had a lot of criticism of the wild card shows and the variety of things that he has ended up on. He's somebody who's managed to escape from that and really sort of get himself, it wouldn't, he in the same way as maybe people like Psycho Mike and that have sort of escaped them sort of shows. If Ryan Clancy was on around at Wrestling Grand Prix in the autumn, he would completely be justified being there because he's proven himself as a valuable member of sort of that team, really, hasn't he?
So I'm looking at Cage Match. He debuted in a circle last year at Carat Weekend. Did the Wildcard Wrestling show and a couple of accounts stuff. He did it too back end of last year and then this. Would you be shocked if I told you he's done 14 matches in wXw in just over a year?
Well, he had the core around East Germany at the end of the last.
Yeah, like just utterly random mid-November. I mean, again, that's a sign of come in. I don't say plug a gap as in oh you'll do, but you become part of us and not just on festival weekends. I don't know when we do these and we talk about the Irias who get the headlines, the Arbes, the Namur, the Amandas, the Shires. We get guys like this will come over, and it's more than just for festival weekends. When it's more than just, hey, you're here for weekend. And it also works, like say that month in East Germany. It means that you're not just restricting the big fly-ins to the Oberhausen. It means longer term, if you're doing playing both sides, so to speak. It's probably a really bad turn of phrase, but when you do more than just Oberhausen, it kind of gets you more indeed for people who go to shows and do VODs, and especially if they can't go to Oberhausen for the festivals. But Clancy, pretty impressive name to come out for weekend. Speaking of, we'll go on to night one of Carat, so the alternate four-way, of course, opens things up. Hector and Victor's got his flag back, winning the alternate four-way over Nick Schreier, Clancy, and Stephanie Mays. I mean, it's fine again, a lot of pre-show stuff they keep really short, so it's the kind of stuff where it just about gets going when the match is done, which is what it is. But again, this was just more giving Hector a spot, and if heaven forbid they need the alternate, is I guess probably the best place name out of those four to slide in. And then rest of these matches, first round Carat tournament stuff. So Ahura beating Michael Oku in just under a quarter of an hour. It was fine. Oku didn't have the Rev Pro belt from this year, which kind of tipped off. Maybe wasn't going to be going far like last year. Again, we've always said Ahura, high ceiling but lower floor, and I think this was pretty fine. He did enough to get past Oku, but it wasn't. He's obviously keeping a lot of stuff in the tank since he was pretty much going to be going the distance. Bobby Guns beating Anita Vaughn. So this was the do-over from Munster back in January. The debut of Guns is the debut of a more aggressive character of the old Bobby Guns, if you want to put it that way. Again, this was fine. I was listening back on commentary, and they were kind of playing this up back in a circle, but obviously that was released after the weekend for people watching live. Anita had obviously the 6-man tag in a circle. She had this match. She had the Shotgun Bonanza, and they were playing the whole thing of has she bitten off more than she can chew, because she's got to do at least she would have at least 2 matches at Bonanza to retain the Shotgun title. know, she'd won this, she had another match to get through. Chaos was a case of, has she signed up for too much at the same time, and kind of played off here, much like with Who, where she came out with an injury, which dogged through the rest of the weekend. Axel Tischer against Masaki Mochizuki, Axeman winning that one. I think this one match of the first night was a bit of a disappointment. I would maybe tag it as that, but it was more. Maybe the idea, what I had in my head of Mochizuki was not what reality was in 2025, rather than the match being actively bad, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it felt, well, it was better than, I always kind of use Koji Kanemoto as the example, probably unfairly, but it was a lot better than maybe Kanemoto's run in 2017. But it very much felt like, in fairness, like it was meant to be Dragon Kid, wasn't it? So he was a last minute replacement. So I kind of felt there was never going to be a lot coming out of Mochizuki this week.
Yeah, I think, like I say, late replacement. They did announce over the weekend Dragon Kid and Dragon Dyer doing the World Tag Team Tournament part of the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. We'll get onto that later, of course. Back to first round Carat stuff. Lawrence Strowman beating out Adam Priest in 13 minutes and change. This is another one I thought maybe a bit underwhelming. Bear in mind when they did the draw, Roman and Priest, both won, big tournaments, one in Europe, one in the States last year. I don't know whether this is just things not clicking or whether it's more a case of, time over just weren't that familiar. I think this is one, I've said this about a few matches for last week or so. They've got better versions of this match in them. Not that this was bad, but I figure, a bit more familiarity, things maybe click a bit better. Any thoughts on Roman Priest, or do you want to move on to the next one?
I kind of want to echo. Yeah, I think that this probably this would have been the great sort of first one if they'd done it, if they do it again in 3 or 4 months' time. I feel like they could quite happily do this on, if Priest is around maybe later in the summer. If they went and did this again at Shortcut, it would be probably, would probably be a lot better. But yeah, I think it was definitely a bit of a chess game match, really, in that sort of sense.
I guess moving on, Masha Slamovich over Cara Noir in 11 minutes. So obviously going in, I think safe to say now was a big fans of Cara Noir. Definitely showed a different side to the character over the weekend. Like, it wasn't the amateur dramatics as much. It was more the, dare I say, grizzled veteran almost kind of thing. Like, definitely, later on the weekend against Nick Schreiber, but it was definitely not besides the Cara Noir that turned me off and have me whack a ton of prejudice on the character. But Masha Slamovich, came out with both the TNA Knockouts belt and the JCW title, so the Jonathan Gresham rule kind of came into effect here. If you're coming out with 2 belts on night one, you are probably going over, and so it was told. Then we had, I guess, what happened in the tweet? The match would make Sandy Quilden tremble in his sleep. Psycho Clown over Joseph Hennick Jr. in a match which put the wXw safety deposit in great danger. I mean, Psycho Clown the whole weekend. I think this is one, and a lot of Psycho Clown stuff was more the spectacle than the Between the Bells stuff. I mean, the entrance where he plucked his kids out for the audience. You haven't heard any of the VOD back yet, have you?
No, I've not.
So, watching back the English feed, and Dave Bradshaw and Matt DeMasi were doing the English comments for this show. Ricky Slash was swapping announcers like Chowder Free for the whole weekend. Psycho Clown comes out on the stage, grabs his kids in the crowd, and you just hear Dave Bradshaw going, "He's stealing children!" like what? Like, I mean, and I think the whole thing over the weekend was Bradshaw having a fear of clowns, which they played up, but as a match, this was what it was. There was a lot of going in the crowd, and it escalated over the weekend. But Psycho Clown, we said, it was going to offer something completely different. Damn sure did. I just was feeling at the end of this match we can have enough chairs for the rest of the weekend, just for way for going through on that show. But yeah, I think the big, if you want to use the story beat, at the end of the match was Robin Christopher Forberg abandoning Fennec after the match. I guess was kind of placing the high performing limited stuff throughout the weekend in terms of fickleness and unhappiness, so to speak. Semi-main one called Manders beating Daisuke Sekimoto in 9:33. I don't know if that's a match time or how long his music went before the match. But yeah, this was exactly what you'd hope for these two. Just the two of them just knocking lumps out of each other. Daisuke bleeding by the end.
Yeah.
I'd have been happy with this being the main event, but luckily Leon Slater, Elijah Blum main event topped that. But yeah, definitely two really good matches to top out the opening night.
Yeah, it was a really good end. I think, say one of the better sort of opening nights. It's kind of a bit of a cliche sort of amongst sort of at least me and people I tend to go with is that night one tends to be with a night where you're like, okay, well, not really much is going to happen because it's all tournament. But I think have to give a lot of credit to Leon and Elijah Blum in this. Two wrestlers who I sometimes hold in a little bit of with a bit of pinch of salt sometimes, because I do sometimes their style doesn't really sit particularly well with me, but they went out there and they had their type of match, but in a way which was very, very engaging, and it made a lot of sense. It kind of proved that type of match, when done well, is still very, very sort of engaging and entertaining. And yeah, I'd say perfect main event for night one. And I think actually, if anything else had been main event, I think it would just been overshadowed by Leon Elijah Blum.
Yeah, I think if he'd swapped the top two matches, I dare would have said Manders Sekimoto may have struggled. I think we saw this late in the weekend. We had a really good match, and then what followed it, was good, but the crowd was really not getting into it. But yeah, definitely, really strong night one. And then I don't know if you want to mention anything about Wrestling Cult on the Saturday morning for the sickos.
Oh, it was really bad. It was worse than it normally is, which I don't.
Ooh, yeah,
It was not. It was. There was not a lot that was any good. Interesting things that happened. Carnage started a new faction. Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Yeah, so
even Mott Van Kudde didn't even get his bum out. So.
Wait, he did lose the belts opening match to Sky for the.
But yeah, no, it was not one of the better ones, to be honest, unfortunately. But it's still a great sort of laugh, and the people I was with who went had a great time, and they're definitely doing it again next year. So
yeah, 1 year I'll be part of it. Trust me.
Yeah, you like to bed too much.
It's more. I didn't get back to the hotel till gone 1 a.m. I think I just missed the last bus back to the NH, and by the time I figured out where it was to get back was like gone 1 a.m. So yeah, absolutely wasn't going to be coming this year. But what was going this year was the debut of the Shotgun Bonanza. So I guess this was the eggy spot where they've done the wXw Renowned Friends showcase, the Wheel of Wrestling wildcard stuff. I guess the format here was everyone had a match. The winners of all those matches went into a battle royal at the end. Last two left standing had a one-on-one match for Shotgun Belt, which meant that, strictly speaking, Anita Vaughan, Shotgun Champion, didn't have to be in the final to, basically lose her match and, pretty much be done. She could win her match and be eliminated and lose a belt without being pinned.
Yeah.
In the end, that kind of didn't happen, but just go through the big points here. So Anita Vaughan beat Fast Time Mudo to retain the Shotgun Belt in the opener. This was fine, but bear in mind this was kind of like the rescheduled match from Back to the Roots. This didn't do a lot for me, I guess, and they were telling the story of she's carrying the injury. She won with picked up an injury which was going to hamper the rest of the weekend. Again, fine as an opener, but again, a lot of these were matches which blitzed through, and I think really, if you just watch the main event, it was kind of the get the important points out. Psycho Mike and Adam Priest beating Paolo Van Niemann and Yokai. I don't know for sure, but I can only guess that Adam Priest was subbing for Dennis Dolnick because Dolnick was advertised to this. And no, he would have fit this spot like a glove. Psycho Mike being the unannounced surprise, and just walking towards the turbine hall, looking, going, "Is that?"
Well,
Yes,
yeah,
it is.
I saw him about 9 in the morning. I was like, oh well.
We know who's on the card, but
yeah.
So again, the gimmick, Adam Priest was part of the tag match. Couldn't find a tag partner. He auditioned for the crowd. Psycho Mike, his music hit, and Oberhausen got very loud for what, 12 noon?
Yeah.
Which they remember. Palavan, Neiman, Yokai is a team that I've seen a lot of. Well, I said a lot. I've seen a fair amount of Nima, in Nova Pro. Not Pro, but Dead American Promotion, Project Nova, and there's a few bits in wXw and of course GWF. I like what I've seen him. Yokai just doesn't work for me. Like,
No.
I know. I'm not going to name who tweeted because I don't want to throw people under the bus, but when you've got no group of people who don't like Fast Time Mudo picking him over you, it's that's not a good spot to be in, But again, I know it's a fairly recent gimmick change, but it just doesn't. The act for me just doesn't click. Maybe it does in some parts of Germany, but in the like the vessel of wXw, that whole thing just doesn't land with me. But we'll see where it goes. I mean, right now they are pretty much like enhancement talent, for want of a better phrase.
One of the issues I think with it is just more that we don't know, we don't get it. I think there's never really been an explanation of why this guy is wearing this Bushido makeup or whatever. It just doesn't make any sense.
I think when he was in Project Nova, so he used to be Cedric Superior, and they just did the character change. And they only have commentary in German, so if it's been then I missed it, apologies. But the impression I got was he just reinvented himself because the old character wasn't working. It's like, okay, so you just went away and came back, and you were acknowledging he used to be, but now that's firmly in the past. I mean, in wXw, like I say, him and Nima are pretty much enhancement guys. Outfit 2, I know which one I'd put more stock in, moving further forward, but yeah, we'll see where we go with those. Speaking of guys with stock in the future, Nick Schreier, he beat Emilian Lewis, Zoltan, and Aaron in a shade over 5 minutes. Again, this was fine. Nothing against Emilian, but if your whole gimmick is just shouting, I'm the apex of Scandinavia, might need better material, but again, with 5 minutes, what the hell are you going to do in 5 minutes in a 4-way,
Again, it does strike me as somebody who possibly was rushed in.
Quite, yeah. Joseph Henry Jr. beating Ravy Davey in 7 minutes. There's a booking that came out left field. I mean, it kind of worked for the live crowd, but again, all I could think of was, this is a horrible approximation, I apologise in advance, you took Martina and Man Like Dre, smashed them together. That was pretty much his entrance.
Yeah, I mean, both of those have got over very well, kind of doing the same thing in Germany. So,
I mean, what I will say is Kretschmann working the whole match in that tracksuit, because he looked absolutely fucked by the end of the match. And again, I mean, if you're wrestling in a thick tracksuit like that, doing dives, it's a good way of keeping your cardio up. Aaron Insane over Red Scorpion. This is one I think both guys would want to take back. 8 minutes wasn't much to this, and then the air bully, the big splash at the top, you lose your footing, you just about clip Red Scorpion landing. Ricky Slatter doing the English commentary to this, or was I thinking quick on his feet, absolutely saved this on the English feed. Saying, we didn't quite, he clipped him, we didn't get all of it, that kind of thing, but yeah, especially when early in the show you have a video package from Aaron Insane saying, I've been wrestling for 17 years, the only thing I haven't done here is win a title, and then your match ends like that. It may be another 17 years at this rate, I reckon.
Hopefully even longer.
Well, we'll see. Ryan Clancy beating Kuro in just over 8 minutes. Again, decent enough. I think a lot of these, again, just the shortness of the matches for me didn't really help. Like, pretty much like TV style, but when you're looking at TV length matches, or classically TV length matches with guys who are barely around, we said this with wildcard stuff. You're getting your introduction, you're getting the crowd introduced to your character, then the other guy takes up, and then you get your finish. So you're getting a lot of this wash, rinse, repeat. Speaking of introduced, but not really getting much shine, Rio Flores and Rio Flores Jr., what was the name they gave themselves on the show? They
I have it as Los Vaqueros.
Los Vaqueritos del Inferno, the Cowboys from Hell.
Inferno, yeah.
So they came up because, of course, the whole motif of the show was, Wild West. They wanted to show themselves to be real cowboys. They got bludgeoned to oblivion by Mandus and Thomas Shire in just over a minute.
Road Warriors squash.
Yeah.
Ray Flores Jr. is Argentinian and works in
Norway.
Quite a lot in Scandinavia. So
yeah,
that's a very random sort of. I don't know how that has occurred, but yeah, didn't really have much going.
No, it was fair to give.
Ray Flores was.
Yeah, I've had look. They both had Flores on their gears, so maybe Argentinian Flores bought 2 pairs of trunks, and it's. I don't think it was Melchio de Pamante Jr. Maybe it was some guy from the academy, but yeah, I think this was just to give Ryan Clancy time to towel down and not do the whole stay in the ring. Yeah, fun for what it was. As soon as you got your ears blasted out by Amanda's theme, you knew exactly where it was going, and predictable isn't always bad, folks. And main event, Joseph Hennick Jr. won the Shotgun Bonanza match. It was just over 8 minutes. They pretty much cleared everyone out for the match. I think the most memorable spot was Psycho Mike body slamming everyone and then getting eliminated on the kick out. But the end was Fennec beating Anita Vaughn to win the Shotgun belt and seemingly win back a Robin Christopher for Vex Affections, which is the ongoing theme. But I guess for the Shotgun Bonanza stuff, I think it can be part of a regular format, but it's going to be one of those where you need to have names on it. If this is just going to be Wildcard Edition or WXW Renowned French Showcase stuff where there's a lot of names that people are not familiar with, it's going to struggle. You have if you have your champion defending throughout the show, that's going to work, but you need more than just he's the champion and a bunch of people and maybe random mid-card. You're going to need maybe 1 or 2 home names to sell this on, plus the your visiting friends. But as a format that worked, I think it's just one of those where the first fair thing's always going to be a bit of a struggle just to get for people to know exactly what they're in for.
I'm not convinced it's got much future. It was an interesting format. I won't say it wasn't interesting, but I'll be honest, I'm not convinced that you could do it again because the format kind of seemed a bit. The format was very convoluted, and it wasn't that convoluted really in reality, but it was. It's been done now, and I feel like the novelty's been done, and I don't know. For me, it would struggle.
I think it depends on who you've got as your Shotgun champion. It worked because you had Anita as the babyface champion. She wants to take on all comers. I don't buy Joseph Fennick Jr. would be doing the same next year. Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing you could. Yeah. I also don't think you could get away with. Management says you've got to do this, cowboy gimmick thing. It worked because of Manders and Shire across the weekend. You have the whole cowboy thing. Maybe it comes back, slightly retooled, but I guess we'll see next year. Speaking of something we did know what we were in for, Ambition 16. I think no one of the matches of the weekend here, but the big key here was short matches, and I think the thing I love most about Ambition, you're not going for the whole move, hit the finisher, maybe that's it. Like you had matches here ended with just simple right hands.
You can't take your eyes off them.
Yeah, like if you do, you're going to miss stuff. Just going through the tournament, so they had the first round of the semis before they did the super fight. So opening round, Thomas Shire beating Yuto Nakashima in 2 minutes, Zazaya beating Dieter Schwartz in just under 5 minutes. And this you could kind of tell who was fully clued in on the style here, because the number of times Zazaya was getting impatient for the for Dieter Schwartz standing up and what have you. That you could tell they weren't quite used to it. Danny Jones beating Fast Time Mood in just under 4 minutes. Liam Slater beating Icarus in 5 minutes by submission, survives the first round. Shire defeating Sazai in the semi. Danny Jones over Liam Slater in the semi. You had the first female super fight, Masha Slamovich squashing Jay Neo in 1 minute 41. Neo was a show day sub for Stephanie Mays. Yeah, I mean, had this been, Mays and Masha, it would have been a much different match. But even just in storyline, Neo was morning of the show replacement. So if you want to do a whole, we've had training camps, whatever, she basically drafted in on the morning. Masha, I won't say at this stage of her career, but in terms of her standings, vastly opposite ends of the spectrum. So yeah, what we got was Masha blitzing through Neo. She did get a couple of things in, but this was exactly the way it should have gone. Then the Ambition final, Thomas Shire fulfilling his destiny, beating Danny Jones through pretty much like a front transfer, like a hanging choke in 3 and a bit minutes, which, again, a lot of these, you're not going to see Thomas Shire use like a front face lock like that in a normal match. Here it's a finish because that's the, with rule setting, that's the whole feeling around Ambition, is that stuff that normally you wouldn't do in a match, is an actual, match ender, like a real fight. Not that it's recommend you get into one of those. And then the main super fight under Battle Arts rules, Fuminori Abe submitting to Kuya Nomura in 13 minutes 37. And yeah, I mean, if you've seen any of the past their recent meetings, you know what you're in for. Absolutely cracking stuff. My only wish for the crowd was a bit more switched on, because I think if you had a more intimate crowd that knew exactly what you're in for, you'd got a lot more reaction about it, lifted things up. But Abe Nomura, you could give him an empty room match and be absolutely steal it.
Yeah, it was really, really good, and like the background of the match was effectively they wanted to wrestle in the place where their mentor Ishikawa had the great match against Ikeda in 2020, and yeah, I feel like they definitely did live up to that. I don't think it maybe hit the heights of some of the previous bouts. It's very difficult to sort of bottle the lightning twice, I feel. But yeah, it was really excellent. It was a real sort of privilege to be able to see that sort of thing in person.
Yeah. So again, Matt one, again, always now up in English on wXw now as well as German. So if you've got that subscription, no excuse for skipping out. And when your main event is the longest match by a country mile. I think your whole Ambition is only like an hour 20, so dead easy watch.
Quick watch, yeah.
Yeah. Night 2 of Carat, a little bit longer than an hour 20. So pre-show, Mochizuki beating Adam Priest. Again, see what we said against Axel Tischer. On paper, this sound a lot more intriguing than it perhaps ended up being. But I think it was more Mochizuki rather than Adam Priest's end. Main show opened, Elijah Blum beating Cara Noir in 12 minutes 46. Yeah, pretty much like I said with Cara Noir day one, he was a lot more dismissive because in his eyes, Elijah Blum, is a rookie upstart. Okay, not quite a rookie, but you know what I mean? He hasn't proven himself. And it bit him on the backside. Blum getting a win here, stretching out that unbeaten run. Win over a former Carat winner as well. So, not the main event, but yeah, it's a pretty notable win as well, especially when you go back through 2025. It's going to be one of those we can use as it's a tentpole result, I'd guess. 2 Carat quarterfinals next. Lawrence Roman beating Axel Tischer in 18 minutes. A lot of people raving about this live. The German match of the weekend. They did visit in a circle for Tag Festival, and since we had because these of course are blind draws, so apart from the last match, you don't know who's coming out. I went straight back to that in a circle match. This one, I think, eclipsed that, and if you're just going by strictly German versus German, best match you're going to get this weekend from 2 homegrown talents.
Yeah, I think at this point this is the 2 best wrestlers in Germany going at it, really, isn't it? It's a match that I feel like if you're really invested in the sort of wXw, if you're invested in Roman, you kind of are you've acknowledged Tischer is effectively probably the best wrestler in Europe at this point. This is a match that I feel like probably means more to you than it would be if you weren't following wXw. But yeah, it was basically the 2 best wrestlers in the country wrestling each other, and yeah, they definitely did really, really well in this.
I was looking on Cage Match because obviously these being live, you had a lot of people watching live, and they've got the match rating gimmick. Pretty pretty much 4 stars, which in line with what I've given it, pretty much well worth it. And actually, listen to your pod with Alan, because Alan mentioned, Lawrence Roman was like the German Tomohiro Ishii, both in terms, he's the Pitbull of Amboss. And it just shows where my head is, because I went straight to thinking, has Tomohiro Ishii ever gotten his face painted like a raccoon?
Maybe
There's a mental image.
Drinking with Okada, maybe.
I'm sure he said, well, what's it? I'm a sad man, write what you want about me. Maybe at that point of his career he will.
Yeah.
Next up, we had Masha Slamovich over Bobby Guns. 10 minutes. This is, quite the clip. I would say surprising results until you consider she had the 2 belts for again. I thought Guns was going to go a little bit deeper in this tournament. But then, it's that whole thing of, well, either he's going through and he's not getting the Mochizuki match on night 3, or he's losing and is. Well, he was losing and he still didn't. Spoiled for day 3. But yeah, I thought this was fine for what we had. 10 minutes. Masha bringing the aggression very early on, and proving if Bobby Guns is going to have to do more than just go back to his old ways to get the old success.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you there. Guns has obviously got. I think there's a lot. Guns is kind of always going to be in a little bit of a difficult position, I feel, because he's an incredibly popular sort of part of the wXw sort of ensemble, and it's always going to be difficult for him to turn heel. I hate kind of saying that, but to get into a position where he can be sort of regularly booed.
Especially with that super fan he's got, it's going to take.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's going to take to get her to turn on him, but
I don't think that's possible.
No.
But yeah, no, it's. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think as well with Guns, it's not. I know it's a thing we keep harping on about is once you've been to the peak and you come back down, it's very hard to get back to those heights without it feeling like it's a retread. I know, commentary throughout the weekend, made the point. Guns, the only thing he hasn't done is won Carat, and I guess the European title. That's something we'll get onto in a second. But yeah, it's that's the last frontier for Bobby Guns to meet, and the fact that out in the quarterfinals, like the rule for John Cena for keeping that in the holster as a maybe in case of emergency thing, or the proverbial gold watch run. But yeah, it was pretty good. But yeah, I think Bobby Guns, maybe smart. They didn't do a whole he's gone back to his old ways. Right, let's put him back on top straight away, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think there's still a lot of work to be done for him there for sure.
Non-tournament action, we had a trios match, and I thought, they're doing the party catch night early. Well, we got Daisuke Sekimoto, Michael Oku, and Nigel Blanc submitting Nick Schreier, Thomas Schreier, and Hector Invictus. This I thought was really good.
Yeah.
They had 3 these trios matches over the weekend, all slightly different. All of them pretty damn good, but yeah, I mean, this particular one, you had all of the elements that kind of played in the party catch. Sekimoto chopping everyone, including his partners, racking the hell out of Nick Schreier, folding him in half. The big guys facing each other. This was just exactly the kind of match you wanted. And I know typically this is the spot where they would have done the tag gauntlet. I know, Felix has said they've deleted the Absolute Andy app. They're not going to be doing the tag shuffle gauntlet anymore, which I'm a little bit sad about. But again, at the same point as we'll touch upon at the end of this weekend recap, there's a bit of a dearth of tag teams, and it's like, you don't really want to be having a slew of random tag teams, especially when one pairing this match, kind of is being made into a tag team. But definitely a match you want to put some time out to see. As is the third quarterfinal, beg your pardon, Ahura over Psycho Clown. This was one, proverbial notebook, and this was a lot of fun, if only for the spectacle of, dare say like the telenovela kind of stuff. Psycho Clown had his kids there, his wife was there as well. They were all involved in the match, of course they were. Who just been the absolutely dastardly bastards, going for the mask, ripping it off at one point, threatening, doing spots for the kids, wrecking more chairs. This was an absolute blast, even if we did feel a touch on alongside.
I Well, I don't feel it. It was probably the longest match of the night, but it didn't feel like it. It was kind of, as I say, it was a complete meth in the best possible way, wasn't it?
I think long was maybe the aftermath bit. I mean, it was that whole. I don't know if you saw from where you were watching at the end, Tass ripping out his earpiece, like in, I'll say frustration. That's maybe more. No, but again, after all the lucha matches, festival weekends, you get the coins and the notes being thrown down, and that takes the time. Psycho Clown doing a post match speech. Oh, I'm big wrestling family. I love you. Please, somebody bring me back. I don't know if it's this one or the next night. He literally said that, but yeah, that adds stuff on plus the long entrance. So yeah, it's a long from curtain to curtain, but yeah, pretty much fun. And again, a marked change from say the Roman Tissue early in the night.
Problem was a bit of levity ahead of the serious stuff to come.
Problem was, it did mean the following match had a bit of a struggle getting the crowd in. One called Amanda's over Leon Slater. The third time in a month they've done this one, believe it or not. And heck, they had a match at 2 to 9 for Earth Pro a week earlier. Bowden playing into Amanda's challenging Oku stuff. Again, really good. I think just, they deliberately slowed it down to start to get the crowd going. And then by the time they did get going, it was like a 10-minute match. They told the story of Leon, thinks this one where he slipped on the ropes and injured his knee, and that played in too late in the weekend. So, again, this was, yep, accumulated damage. It's not just, hey, this is my first match today, I'm A-okay. It actually makes sense if you watch the whole tournament. It's not just, oh, hey, yeah, I lost my arm yesterday, but I'm fine now. Look, I can punch with both hands.
And ultimately, they should be. If they're wrestling, 5 matches a weekend, they should all be banged up.
They'd hope so.
Yeah.
Speaking of someone who's banged up, Levaniel got absolutely obliterated in 1 minute 12 against Mike DeVecchio. So, how do we put this? Because they both got the grandiose entrances. Mike D got the old Jörn Simmons pyro cannons. Levaniel got Nil Poir. We came out with the European Union theme. Not the European. Was it the EBU theme?
Tedeum, which is it's the Eurovision theme.
With all the flags. I think Alan said in your pods, like, he compared to, he's like European Donald Trump, which is a comparison I didn't ever cross my mind, but it kind of fits. But yeah, Levaniel got absolutely obliterated in, like, say, minute 12. You've got to think that's it for him now in terms of goes away, he licks his wounds, proverbially speaking, and then comes back. Maybe it's a shortcut, but it definitely. Oh God, you can make me.
There I know. There we find out.
So the Greek alphabet is Tau.
There we go.
Don't know what that means, but. Oh God. We're going to get cancelled by a certain breeder fan. And then main event, TLC match, Big Bucks beating High Performer Limited's Anil Marek and Icarus. Planet Gojira's Mark Empire, Robert Dreisk, and reigning champions Youngblood, Oscar and Yuta Nakashima. 25 minutes in TLC match, which I guess you could say ticked all the boxes, but maybe... I don't know, because I enjoyed this live. I know some people are really down on how cheap the finish was. Oscar with a low blow, and then Big Bucks climb lads to win. But this is one where it kind of ticked everything off. You had Icarus doing the dive off of the ladder to Youngblood on tables in the aisle. That was Icarus's, I guess, big farewell. We'll touch on that in a second. Planet Gojira and Dreisker busted open early, was bleeding throughout. We had the obligatory Japanese table spot. I think the one table that didn't have the telltale line didn't break. But yeah, I think this was one which... we also had Robert Dreisker spearing Forwerk through a table at the end before Big Bucks won the belts. But yeah, this was one, I guess, the spectacle match of the weekend. But maybe one which kind of shows, I guess, maybe a few weaknesses just in terms of the stories coming out of this.
I think it was just kind of, it was always going to be it made sense for this to be the main event. I think it kind of in the absence of the world title match, it sort of did justify that. Yeah, there are a lot of weaknesses coming out of it. I think, as is now evident, Icarus is seemingly done with wXw, which is obviously a bit of a loss. I presume it's his own. Appears to be his own making. We're also obviously set to be losing Youngblood by the looks of it as well.
Yeah, did you see Oscar's Instagram earlier tonight?
Well, he's on a plane, isn't he?
Yeah. And there was a big New Japan show on Thursday, the New Japan Cup Finals.
Yes. So
maybe that's him trolling. We don't know, but we'll touch on this because they had the wXw World Tag Titles and the Pro Wrestling Holland Tag Titles. They lost those two. I'm not going to say the name because I'm going to butcher VCC, Noah Hooker, and
Vlamse Kachkolisi, which is the
Gesundheit.
It's it's like a Flanders version of Northwest Strong.
There's Noah Hooker and Daniel Akindele. And again, that was one they had built up for a while, so it wasn't just oh crap, we're going home. They are advertised for some wXw matches. Actually, this weekend. They're actually advertised for Dresden and Leipzig this weekend. So if they are going back to Japan, there'll be a lot of jet lag for Saturday in Dresden, we'll see. But yeah, so we'll touch on this in the weekend recap. But yeah, this one where you had to do, we can't all kind of tagged was going to be title change just because of who's of the Elton Room was Youngblood. Night we did the big fire sale of the merch, which kind of told it off some more. But yeah, new champions, and it does put KXS back in the picture purely because they were banned from challenging for titles while Youngblood held the belts. But yeah, maybe a bit of dearth of tag teams in the short term. Going to Sunday, had a Wheel of Wrestling taping, just blitz through these. A lot of these, I guess, I don't say non-canon, but not really much playing picture. So Hector Invictus over Danny Jones is a decent opener. Jane Nero over Raker. Adam Priest beating Liam Slater. Yuto and Oscar squashing M4 and Tim Kozlowski. So this one where they had a promo early in the show. They didn't want to speak. They just went out and on paper they dominated M4 and Tim Kozlowski, the I guess Y2QT interns, for a better word. But the post-match seemed to be a lot more aggressive than what the match actually was, which was a bit disappointing. The finish, I think, was a bit mucked up as well. Like, it was a proper 3 count, so someone just didn't kick out. But, it was one of these, if you want to do them, hey, we're angry, we're going to beat the crap out of 2 rookies, this should have been like the 2 minutes and not what we had here, but it told the story, I guess. Joseph Hennick Jr. beating Ryan Clancy to retain the shotgun belt. Thomas Shire beating Icarus, and so this one where Icarus was struggling. He was this is what 12 hours or so after the ladder match. Was still worse for wear. Had some control, but then wanted to do one blast showy thing. Shire pretty much folded him. He literally folded in half that powerbomb, and yeah, end result, Thomas Shire gets the win. Forbeck fires Icarus after the match from High Perform Limited. Yeah, like I said, Icarus tweeting afterwards, but that was him done with wXw. Yeah, we'll touch on that in a bit. KXS beating Nima and Yokai. This is a match that Youngblood's squash should have been. And then Kyle Noir beating Nick Schreier in 12:39. I think this is one where it's really the bullet point is Nick Schreier's first wXw main event. There's another one where Kyle was being dismissive, but again, they're on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of where they are in their careers. Yeah, it is it's decent enough, but I don't think anybody bought that Nick Schreier is going to win. I think you do Matt's main event. The piece you're taking away is Nick's first main event, not anything else was coming out of that. Any other thoughts from Wheel of Wrestling 65?
No, it was a lot of throwaway stuff, but yeah, obviously mentioned Icarus going. That's kind of really the only interesting thing I thought.
And then Night 3 Carat, so this is where the business end of the tournament now. Mandus beating Masha Slamovich in, the official time is 8:46, but there was a bit of a brawling. Masha dived through the ropes as Mandus came out. They brawled in the crowd. She got busted open before the bell. Really good opener, just in terms of the aggression. Both wanted to have a match over as quick as they could so they could recover the most for the main event. Ahura beating Lawrence Roman in 11:36. Again, decent enough. Ahura, again, being worn down. Roman, the first guy to kick out of Ahura's Salamandra, the spinny Death Valley driver thing. Ahura kicking out Roman's pile driver. So, this one where it was both, hey, if this was night one, it could have gone different, but both men carrying injuries, and Ahura just digging that a little bit deeper to get through. Miyu Yamashita beating Anita Vaughn. So this was announced on the Wheel of Wrestling show. And I don't know, but they'd never announced the opponent before Sunday. My guess this would have been Miyu and Maze, just because kick. Just what they're both known for. Anita plugged the gap pretty well, I thought. But again, it's one of those, one in storyline should have been worn down from doing In a Circle, from doing night one, from doing the Shotgun Bonanza. So that alone was the cover for the result here, but I think at the same time, you could put anyone in, and I think Yamashita would have gotten the win just based on the way she'd been presented from the start.
Yeah, she was always the special attraction and did a killing at merch by all accounts.
That does not surprise me. Again, the cues tell the story. Then we had, I guess, the first of two party catches. This was the Lucha Rules one. So Psycho Clown, Michael Oku, and Elijah Blum beating Cesare, Psycho Mike, and Masaki Mochizuki. Since we had Psycho Mike and you knew we were going to try and find a way to do Psycho Clown and Psycho Mike, this was it. I'll be honest, I know I gave them both the same rate, and I preferred the other trios match on the night to this one. But again, this one was exactly what you expect from the the WXW Party Catch stuff. And heck, you got Psycho Clown do a dive off that off the stairwell, which is becoming a bit of a regular feature on these Cowboy weekends.
Yes, somebody's got to do it. All I could do.
It's not me next year.
all I could do was watch Michael Oku and Elijah Blum piss themselves laughing at Psycho.
And at the end, Oku shielding himself because of all the coins being thrown. Was it because at the end we had the Mexican flag for Psycho Clown, Elijah Blum's got the French fans with a tricolor. We don't bring British or English flags because they've got a much different connotation these days. But yeah, I think it's one of those where could watch this back. Again, shade under 20 minutes, easy background watching. I can see this being one of those intermission, filler matches we'll put on these live feeds in the years ahead.
Yeah, you hope so.
Second half, Mike DeVecchio beating Leon Slater to retain the European belt. This is 15 minutes.
Really good match.
Good as a run back of that dead end match. But again, accumulated damage. Leon, was just couldn't get going. He had slipping doing his dives. We did hit some of them. He clearly wasn't 100%. The story being, if he was, Mike D would have been in big trouble. Big story coming out of this though, the return of Metahan. So this is first WXW appearance since Dead End last year. Nearly 2 years in Oberhausen, 2023's Drive of Champions. And this is one where live, something didn't click. And if you watched back with English subtitles on, it wasn't that much better. So basically, it's a long promo, things like 10 minutes from his entrance to the exit. Bring power. He won Carat 6 years ago for all of you. His WWE release took away his passion for wrestling. He had a nervous breakdown. And when you read that in the subtitles, and then the crowd just murmured. I think we see one guy going, boring! It's just so, to his credit, he did get the crowd back on, but it just seemed a lot of circling back around to get the crowd where he wanted to be.
People lamenting a prison they sent themselves to.
Yeah. Maybe the bounce park out next to the warehouse wasn't what it all cracked up to be. Something I can think, anyway. But yeah, Metahan declared he's back to reach the top. He's committed himself to be the best European wrestler. So, despite saying he wasn't after Mike D, he is actually Mike D's title. So, I guess that's a feud. And he is booked for a bunch of WXW shows upcoming. I know they did the graphic of, come see Metahan live. And I think what they got, he's doing Dresden, Leipzig this weekend, Frankfurt, Erfurt, start of April, Papenburg, Hamburg, and all that. So it's based on every show until Drive of Champions. So I guess we'll see. Of course, Mike DeVecchio doing the Champions Carnival in all Japan. So there'll be some shows he won't be around for. So maybe Drive of Champions is where the two will meet. Elijah Blum, Robert Dreisker, Mark Empire beating Takuya Nomura, Fumio Abe, and Daisuke Sekimoto, the other six-man tag of the night. This again, real good fun, and this one we had Dreisker and Sekimoto coming face to face, Empire and Sekimoto as well. Bloom getting the win, pinning Nomura with the parting gift. As a, I guess a warm-up semi-final match, this was an absolute blast again.
Yeah, it was a bit of a sort of a farewell and sort of love letter to Sekimoto, and we believe also Abe and Nomura. Bit of a farewell, I think.
They kind of have done everything. I mean, like, obviously, Sekimoto, I don't say like the Legends role, because that's kind of been a bastardized term, at least with, American wrestling. But, like, he did 2019. This was like the big swan song. Nomura and Abe, they've done the big, super fight. They've both had the runs in Ambition. Abe's, I think he's even done Carat. I don't know what else you can do. Like, if you put them in Tag Fest, in Tag Tournament, do they come back in to win it?
Yeah.
If that's to me, like, say this is the, like the love letter, the farewell for now. Yeah.
I mean, and the thing is, they are young. They're both young, relatively speaking. So. Abe literally turned 30 this year, so I mean, there's still many years to go for them. But they can come back in 2 years' time and they're fresh and exciting again, aren't they? So.
Well, there's no area this year. It's the whole thing. How can we miss you? You never go away, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, Carat final one called Mandus beating Ahura in just under a quarter of an hour. The only thing for me that ruined this was, I guess the culmination of the, accumulated damage stuff. So throughout the match, Ahura's ribs were taped, so Mandus, of course, worked that in the back. Mandus' arm was taped as lariat arm, so Ahura worked that. The arm was stronger than the ribs, and I think Mandus hit one who was convulsing. That's a bit which took me completely out of it, because it's like, look, we know in wrestling, if someone's injured, the match gets called off straight away. And to do the whole, no, I want to win it my way. I get what they're going for, but it's just, for me, it just felt a little bit too corny if they even, tried going down that road. End result for, was the...
It set up the swerve and then didn't do it, which is great, I think. That's a great way of doing it.
And I guess the finishing stretch is what's going to be replayed in all the video packages. Who getting to his feet, defiantly crossing his arms, stealing himself to get Lariat into the next dimension, which Mandus promptly did, gets the win 16 Carat Gold, and we end with the Cowboys on the stage with their 2 trophies and all the gold confetti, which Ambrosi did well this weekend.
Yeah, lots of rice pudding. Yeah, I think from start to finish, let's say we've already mentioned it. I've mentioned it on the other pod with Alan. It was just a genuinely brilliant weekend. Just everything hit right, I think, for me. No duff things, probably, to say, barring probably the Metahan thing. That was about it.
I think that promo's only just finished. Just kidding, lads. But a couple of bullet points, and this is just like, me being ultra nitpicky. Do you think they would have been better off doing this tournament for the title like we did with VBA 2 years ago? Like, I know we went through, like, Bloom got a couple of statement wins, but I got the feeling at some points, like, this was the weekend he was going to have his big crowning moment. Winning the title for the first time in Frankfurt. I know this is very hypocritical because we've complained a lot in this pod of all the big stuff only happens in Oberhausen. Well, now Frankfurt's likely going to get, Elijah Blum's first win, first big title win. I know, would they have been better off saying, look, I think speaking of Domi after the, while we're waiting for you guys at much, Blum already said, I was only here to dethrone Peter. I only wanted to take stuff away from him. it's been taken away from I've got no beef, and effectively that's the kind of line of thinking. Would have been better having Manders win the belt in the tournament and then lose to Bloom on the first defence. Because to me, you had this whole thing where the vacant title was the elephant in the room again, because that's the big thing. That's usually something over weekend, and the fact that now it's like, yeah, you're going to be the other half of the title match for the vacant belt in Frankfurt end up being. I don't know, would you have done this for the title, or what they've done fine?
I think what they did was fine. I think it would have been very, very rushed. I think, and it probably would have. I think it possibly would have changed the result as well. I don't believe it should, and I don't believe. I don't think it's a pure done deal that Bloom does win the belt in Frankfurt. To be honest, I don't think it's 100% sure done deal. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. But I say I do think it possibly would have been a bit rushed if they had done that.
Actually, just touching on that, obviously,
it would have ruled people out before they even begun. Whereas I don't feel like anybody in the there was only, once you get to the second round, there was only probably about 3 or 4 people who you're like, yeah, they're not going to win it.
Yeah.
If you put the title on there as well, it immediately rules out another 4 or 5 people, and I think that's a difficult thing to have for a big tournament.
Yeah, you want to have a lot more open-ended. And speaking of Manders, I think Rev Pro just announced him for their Revolution Rumble in June, isn't it?
Yes.
So again, if he does win, it's not like he's away for a year. So yeah, that could. No.
He's here until the start of April. Sorry, here in Europe, I would say. He's in Europe until the start of April, and he's back in June. So
not that many shows without a champion. If they do go on that road. Obviously, we covered Youngblood, Stephanie Mays injuring her ankle in the alternate 4-way. Probably changed a few things. Need to talk about the tag division, because I know we touched on this after the TLC match. So, say Youngblood are gone. Really, you've got Planet Gojira. I mean, in terms of win-loss records, they are the team with the most wins this year after you remove Youngblood. Big Bucks, they're pretty much 50-50. KXS, but they haven't really been focusing as a team, but they're the only other team that are around. Cash and Hector's dissolved. You've got Elijah Blum, Michael Oku in the Shotgun Vlogs forming as a team.
You've got Nikki and Mike D. Although obviously, Mike D's this way. I mean, in fairness, KXS did come back at the end of this weekend, so they are on the next show, I believe, aren't they?
I believe
they're on a 6-man.
Yeah, they've announced for, I want to say, is it Leipzig? They're actually challenging for belts this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
So I think maybe a bit too soon to do a title change, but I guess we'll see. It certainly would fit Big Bucks' as a trajectory if they won the belt and lost them in the same month, but we'll see. The whole Ahura Igel Blanc stuff. So we obviously had the matches at Back to the Roots, then in Bielefeld, and then the whole meet in the final, and then that completely fell off. I assume that was maybe the plan, as the final before Tahani got injured, but it does feel like they're just completely going a completely different route now. Especially like saying the Shotgun Vlog, they announced Igel and Oku as a tag team.
Yeah, I think it's something you can come back to. I feel like they did a lot of it beforehand anyway, really.
Maybe touched too much.
Yeah, it kind of didn't feel very authentic from Elijah Blum. Kind of put a bit of a bad taste in the mouth, I think, for maybe some of the things he was saying. I don't know whether it's just bad scripting, but it didn't really sort of.
It did seem a bit.
So if it is completely
sharp.
Sorry.
It did seem like it's a bit too sudden, like out of nowhere. Like Ahura was the guy who would be like, if Ahura had the Japan run,
if Ahura had been doing it, it'd be fine, but not really Elijah Blum.
And we're gonna guess, going about people who were knocked out early, Bobby Guns, Axel Tischer. Maybe a statement for the old guard, maybe aren't the ones leading the charge anymore. Maybe that's me reading a lot into it. I guess we just want to go through a couple of numbers. The think we've done this every year now for Carat, but in terms of like where the crowds are, pretty much everything's been up on the prior year. In a circle, about 20 more than last year. Night one was up on last year. Ambition effectively the same. I think there's one extra ticket sold based on the numbers they've released. Night two of Carat crossed the 1,000 barrier for the first time. Well, last year was 989, but this year's back over. I think the post-pandemic number for night two was 2023 for Bobby Guns, Norman Harris schmoz we had there. Because nowhere near the 1,1700 we had pre-pandemic. But again, pre-pandemic we were all standing. Now it's all mostly seated, so I don't think you're going to get back to that anytime soon. I think only night that dropped was the Wheel of Wrestling, which is down a little bit from last year. Everything's certainly pointing one way in terms of year-on-year numbers. So, and I think we'll touch on for next year's Inner Circle. Back to obviously going to the Turok and Essen. They've already sold more than the Academy in Gelsenkirchen can sell. So
yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they sold out in an hour effectively.
Yeah, I think when they say 120, they said they've sold more in the first hour than they could have fit there. Turok back in the heyday was able to do about 250, 300. So effectively, you're looking like a low end autumn festival crowd size, which I mean, just for the curiosity factor alone, that's going to be an interesting show, let alone the whole, whatever they tag on in terms of the homecoming, the first show there in nearly 20 years and all the past. So, again, plenty of time to go there, but we'll see what they make of Carat next year. Other bits and pieces coming out of the Shotgun vlog. Again, we've mentioned we're going to have KXS against the Big Bucks in Leipzig this coming weekend. Got obviously one called Manus against Elijah Blum at 16 Carat Gold event in Frankfurt next month. Hector pretty much saying that the tag team with Dennis Dulnik is done. So I guess that was what we're going to be doing over the festival weekend. Seem to be teasing Youngblood and Planda Kujira. I guess that's the farewell thing. And yeah, I guess other news bits coming up the weekend. We mentioned a few times Icarus announced he's wrapping up in wXw. I think somebody Saturday night he tweeted a photo of that sent on saying this will be final meltdown. So yeah, I mean, I guess famously in wXw's half of the Hours of Hungary debuted back in November 2015 as the Hours beat the Champions of Champions, Absolute Andy and Bad Bones in Prague back when wXw used to run in Czechia. Came back in 2018 on the Good Wrestling Deutschland show. Important to get back to distinction up there. But it was back in 2018 when the Hours were a bit of a regular part. Did the World Tag Team League. It was 2019's World Tag Team League that they broke through. Icarus did the meltdown sent on off a balcony. My better half Jen got that photo from the side. Good place to be at the right time, I guess. Need to dig that one up. Then he did something similar at Broken Rules in Dresden the following month. So, yeah, Icarus just loved diving off high things in wXw. It got them over. But the pandemic era, which got the Hours of Hungary to be a bit of a staple in wXw, they won the tag titles from the team wXw Wrestling Academy, Anil Marek and Robert Dreisker, at the close set shortcut for top in 2021, just before crowds came back. They retained them, defeated Marek and Dreisker, Mudo and Mays, the French stars, then lost them to Mays and Mudo at Carat in 2022 when they got their fairy tale moment. Later in the year, they become part of Amboss, and then we know how that went. Dover was sent packing end of 2023. Icarus was the final arrow, and then after Amboss crumbled middle of last year, joined High Perform Limited. And I guess if you want to say, the writing was on the wall, like there's some High Perform Limited tags at the start of this year, which was Tahani and Marek, Tahani and Icarus. Tahani and Fennec. So I guess it was kind of, maybe writing the wall that, hey, these random High Performer tags Icarus wasn't involved in. Yeah. I mean, that is another departure for High Performer Limited because, of course, Baby Allison, sent packing in Bielefeld. You want to take Peter Tahani out, really, you've got Joseph Fennick Jr. and Anil Marek are the only two they've got. Yes, so that really new to that particular group, yeah. So I mean, heck run by Icarus, did stuff before the pandemic, but really one of the shining lights coming out of the pandemic, and one of the, dare I say, one of the veterans who steadied the ship, so to speak.
Yeah, he's a very sort of handy person to have around. I feel like he sort of very useful around sort of younger wrestlers. I think I point towards maybe the Patrick Bork match from Ambition
Oh yes,
2
yeah,
years ago, being a really good strong match. And I don't know. As I say, I don't know what the feeling was, but like I feel that there was a lot of that was on Icarus being a very very reliable person to have around. Yeah, so it is a shame he's maybe gone, but I feel like Icarus isn't someone I think it's we'll never see again. I It wouldn't surprise me if he did turn up and did something in the future, but yeah, good on him, and I'd say it's always likes to leave us with a nice memory, and I think that we'll always probably will remember the crazy dives he did, and yeah, what a great example of a wrestler.
yeah. I mean, in fact, we did that video where the love letter to Ambition as well. It wasn't just a case of, he does a lot of grappling. If you follow him on his social media, that kind of style is, the kind he likes. He's found a love for. But it's not just I like this, so I'm only going to do the ground based stuff. He very versatile. In fact,
Yeah.
like say, you're thinking of the Ambition stuff towards the end, but also the highlight reel stuff as well. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure he'll be back. But in terms as a regular, I think might pop up for Ambition next year. We'll see, maybe festival stuff, but certainly as a regular part. That's pretty much him done for now. Elsewhere, of course, we touched on this earlier. Carat 2026 tickets very predictably through off the shelves. Front row tickets went, I think, in about an hour, which, yeah, that's usually the way now. There's still plenty in the balcony, plenty pretty much everywhere else if you're looking for like festival and tournament passes. The day tickets, I think, will be going up later in the year. So, what I will say is if you are looking to book hotels, and I think a few of us were saying this over this past weekend, the NH seems to be very cheaper for classic open house and hotels these days. Had a quick look this afternoon. It was about 200.
Tell everybody that the prices will go up.
Well, how many people could have booked today? But yeah, like I mean, certainly like comparing like the ones that people normally book, it was a good like 250 quid cheaper than say the trip and the another place. So I'll say if you're planning on going, just be aware, that the old favourites may not be the old favourites much longer, just based on the chat coming out of Carat Weekend. I guess finally, the World Tag Team Tournament. I'm going to keep calling this Tag Festival, and I've only just got used to it not being World Tag Team League. We got our first team announced, as we mentioned. Dragon Kid, who was meant to be part of Carat, is now going to be teaming with his trainee Dragon Deer. If you're not Dragon Gate watchers, you might remember Dragon Deer was part of last year's New Japan Super Junior Tag League. He was teaming with Yusuke Taguchi. They went 2-3. I think I had a quick look through cage match. I think Deer and Dragon Kid have tagged in the past, but are more regularly on different sides of the ring these days, or pre-injury. So we'll see how that works out. Of course, Pro Wrestling Grand Prix tickets available now. Plenty available for Inner Circle on Thursday, 25th September. The way the tickets are working at the moment, you've got the festival tickets, which is everything but front row sold out. If you want day tickets, those are going to be Fridays for show one of the Extreme Wrestling Party. The Saturday tickets will get you the Saturday afternoon, Saturday night show, and the Sunday show will get you the Wheel of Wrestling taping and the final show for. So if you're only doing one day, I think right now you're only getting the full day tickets or the festival stuff. There's no show one ticket or Extreme Wrestling Party ticket. We'll probably come up a bit close to the time, but if you're looking to plan way ahead, as I know quite a few first timers, I think, are going to be heading over to Upper House, and so a few unfamiliar faces for us in Louisiana at the end of September.
Yeah, it's there's a lot more in between than there was last year as well.
Yeah. And I guess speaking of this coming weekend, this past weekend, in fact, they ran in Bad Säckingen. A show they didn't tape. I think for their own admission, they were working flat out to get the VODs out. So Unfortunately, that means one called Manders and Thomas Shire against Planet Gojira has lost for people of the Huber Arena, as was Norman Harris getting punched in the balls by Huber.
So, yeah.
Shame he's not the new tag team champion without just being the cherry on top of things. But anyway, as for this coming weekend, Wheel of Wrestling 66 at the Stromberg in Dresden. This will be live on wXw Now and Triller in German and English respectively. On the card, we've got Ahura against Elijah Blum. There you go. There's the match. They probably going to originally do it, Carat. Bobby Guns and Big Bucks against KXS and Jane Nero. M4 against Anil Marek. Dieter Schwartz against Metahan. Gee, I wonder who's winning that one. Hector challenging Mike DeVecchio for the European title. Nick Schreier challenging Joseph Fenech Jr. for the Shotgun title. Planet Gojira against Youngblood. And Thomas Shire and one called Manders against Lawrence Roman and Elijah Blum. The next day they're going to the Hellraiser in Leipzig. From what I understand, this will be wXw Now only, so on demand, unless Leipzig suddenly got upgraded internet. Just doing a quick check now on the Triller TV website, see if there's been anything changed. As it stands now, actually neither of those are on Triller TV at the moment, but yeah, basically when I asked around, the Sunday show is very much dependent on Leipzig internet, so just be prepared if that one's VOD only, that's why. But announced so far is KXS challenging Big Bucks for the tag titles, Thomas Shire playing spoiler against Elijah Blum, and Metahan against Lawrence Roman. Then 2 weeks later, we've got Wheel of Wrestling 68, 16 Carat Gold Revenge at the Batch Cup in Frankfurt. That's where we can have one called Manders take on Elijah Blum for the vacant Unified World Wrestling title. And just a quick pitch hitter for down the line. Wheel of Wrestling live in Erfurt, April 6th. The Alte Kesselschmiede in Papenburg, May 3rd. Those will be taped for later distribution as matches only. Fan Appreciation Night 2025 at the Market Hall in Hamburg on May 23rd with Masato Tanaka. WXW and IWI at the Shrana in Dinkelsbiel, that's the double-header shows there on May 31st. Drive of Champions at the Turbine Hall in Oberhausen on June 14th. Supposed to be going back to the Batch Cup in Frankfurt for a show with no name on July 19th. Shock for top Turbine Hall in Oberhausen August 16th, and then Christ Pro Wrestling Grand Prix. So fair amount there, or even if a lot of it is going to be piecemeal VOD stuff. But yeah, it just feels like, Mike, we've just gotten settled down coming out of Carat, and we're already having to have one nervous look over our shoulder for the Pro Wrestling Grand Prix.
It's always with a lot of excitement for Wrestling Grand Prix too. So yeah, but it's nice to have the summer all sort of planned out. I say last year was a bit bare, wasn't it?
Yeah, we're not getting like the 2 6-week breaks because of football and the summer pause. I tell you, just again looking at those, that show with IWI is going to be, I guess, perversely interesting, just because obviously it's a promotion WXW hasn't openly worked with in the past. I guess it's kind of like the Rev Pro GWF doubleheader they did last year, and again this year, just to see who from the IWI side of things appears on the WXW and vice versa, because I believe Mark Empire used to be the IWI champion. Because I'm just thinking now, IWI had a merger or takeover of sorts. They bought out IPW, not that one, and IPW Germany. So now we've got Independent Wrestling and Innovation there, based out of Bayern, so out of Bavaria. Sorry, you can tell I'm reading Cage Match, not translated. They're pretty new, but obviously taken on IWI. But yeah, just looking through the recent shows, we do have some names you'll be familiar with. Obviously, I think their women's champion, Baby Allison, won the belt last month. Mark Empire used to be their world champion, Hector Invictus as well. Used to be in the title picture there. You've watched some of the small shows, like some of the shoulder shows on the festival weekends, and you'll have seen the likes of Tyra Gates from the old Wheel of Wrestling stuff. Nikki Foxley from the old Femme Fatales. Mexberg. What's it? He's an Austrian who does Goldberg. I think was a comparison you came up with on
Yes.
Alan's pod. So actually, Mexberg's their champion for the moment. So there's an obvious one. Faze Aguilar, Yuval Goldschmidt, academy graduates. They're part of the regular roster. So yeah, maybe a chance with some names from the very recent past of the We'll be popping those, but yeah, that is, like we say, is at the end of May. Plenty of wrestling happening between now and then. But Mike, we've gone way longer than we usually do. Where can people find you to go through what you thought of a Carat as was happening and get shows in the future?
You could follow me on everything, basically. I'm at Mike Kilby, MikeKilby. Blue Sky, Twitter, Instagram. Yeah, all of it.
For myself, you can find me at Ian Wrestling. Just search for that on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky. Back Body Drop on most platforms as well. Yeah, and this is your first time listening to us, because we got a fair few new followers on the social media over Carat weekend. Welcome aboard. Thanks for following. Hope we haven't chased you away. And yeah, I'll say thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube or your podcast apps. And we'll be back probably back end of this month for a look at the Dresden Leipzig shows.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening, folks. And any last bits, Mike?
I was just say, if you do want to hear more, I was also on the PW Torch VIP Pro Wrestling Paradise with Alan 4L, former WXW commentator. So if you want to hear more thoughts on 16 Carat and just general thoughts on the future of European wrestling, that's a podcast you can listen to.
Yeah, pwtorch.com. They also have a Patreon, so if you're more used to Patreon's site. So I do know personally, I used to be a Torch member, and their site is a bit finicky to work through. So if you prefer Patreon and how they do things, it's available there. But yeah, pwtorch.com or pwtorch VIP on Patreon, find it there. But thanks so much for listening, everyone, and we'll see you later this month. Cheers.
Cheers.